The program that I'm developing will be used in conjunction with other parenting programs. So it is for parents who might be referred to a parenting program by an outside agency. So maybe it is Child Protection Agency, or maybe it's health or something like that. So the family might be struggling in some ways and they've been referred to a parenting program, or possibly the parents themselves have referred themselves to a parenting or taken themselves to a parenting program because they feel that they're struggling in that area.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
And so this program will be added in to existing evidence-based parenting programs. So although it's not specifically targeting a certain group, this program is designed to be added to parenting programs. So parenting programs you might find in the community. So it's not targeted to it's not about women's violence at all. It's just about preventing child sexual abuse within a positive parenting framework.
Tell me something about the perpetrators. Like, why do they do this? What did you find in your research? Okay, I know now, it's a little bit psychological because I'm telling you to enter into the mind of the perpetrator to know why they do the things, no? But of course, this is going to be important because if certain agencies have funded this project, I believe they want a prevention. But by having a prevention, they first of all want to understand why people do certain things, no? So at the end of the day, we cannot avoid it. So make an effort to respond to the question, why did they go around abusing children sexually?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question and a very important question, and a question that is addressed usually more from a criminology angle. And I know that there are some great programs happening, especially in Europe, say in Germany. I think in America, there's some programs now too, where they're targeting, like I was saying before, men with already or people who come to them with inappropriate thoughts and feelings. They're acknowledging they have a problem and they're getting the help that they need. So really that's the people working in that area. They would have more information about that, kind of like I wouldn't like to enter into the area of saying that why someone might do that or in what circumstances they might do that. So that comes more from a kind of criminology or forensic psychology area. So I'm more focused on if we're going to avoid sexual abuse from before it happens, before the actual fact, we can't wait for children to have it done to them and then disclose, or have a sexual advance happen to them and then try to resist it. We have to take a step back and prevent it before it ever happens. And to do that, we really have to look at the adults rather than the children and the circumstances. And we have to look at the perpetrators and the protectors. So the perpetrators is not the area that I'm focused on, but like I said, there is some great work happening in that space. So I'm looking at just the protectors. So I'm looking at the people who can actually create an environment where it's less likely to happen. Because even if we do understand how it happens, or it's still, one never can really make a totally safe person. So I'm using a theory called situational crime prevention for my program, which basically entails creating a safe situation, a safe environment, rather than a safe person, because it's quite impossible to know that you have a safe person. So a person might have any kind of security checks or references, or be a great person in the society. However, we can't be sure that that person is ever 100% safe. And we can give our children all the information that we think they need. And we can be quite certain that our child might say no in the situation, but you can never be sure. So we can never create a totally safe child, and we can never create a totally safe adult or know that an adult is safe. And so if we can't create safe people, then the best thing to do is create a safe situation, a safe environment where you could theoretically have an unsafe adult and a child who might not be able to resist or avoid the abuse from happening. However, because we've created a safe situation, a safe environment, then the abuse is unable or less likely to occur.
I find that very important. Anyway, I'm going to come to that safe environment shortly. Do you concentrate mainly on the children? Am I right? Or do you also look at the family in totality? Because, okay, if we need to get to the environment that is beyond just the children, you look at the society itself, look at the institution, look at the family, because those are the ones that are responsible for creating the environment. The children have very little to do there, even though they are participants. So help me understand that. You concentrate only on the children, or how much influence does the family background have in what happened at the end of the day?
Yes, no, I think it does have a big influence, and obviously just the family circumstances, the family situation, the family history, it all has a big influence on what's happening in the family. But in terms of my work, I'm just working with parents or caregivers. It doesn't necessarily have to be the natural parents. We're calling them parents, but it's all caregivers of kids in the family. So we're working specifically with caregivers of children to help them recognize when a situation might need more monitoring, or a situation might need a few more questions asked, or a situation might need to be avoided. Helping parents make decisions about their child's environment and about their child's situation that would make the child safer. So it's true that in some situations it's much more difficult. If you do have a family situation maybe where there is a lot of comings and goings and a lot of adults that have contact with the child, or there's certainly, or a single parent who does have to work a lot and spends a lot of time outside the house, outside the family home. Those are all situations that make this more difficult. So it is true that these all affect a parent's ability to create the safe environments that we're talking about. So that's why I think it's important to work with parents too and help them see what's something they can do. They might not be able to do the best thing in this situation, which might be, stay home with the child, or don't let the child look after by this person or this person. But sometimes that's not possible, and it's not realistic to ask parents to do maybe what might be the ultimate best thing to do in this situation. So we work with parents to try to come up with something that they can do, something that's feasible in their life, in their situation. So it might just be a minimal change, but a minimal change that will make the situation slightly more safe for that child. So it's about working with the parents where they're at and trying to help them come up with their own strategies of what would work in their life and in their situation and in their family environment.
Now, for the children, I don't know what is the age range that we are referring to now, because children, of course, okay, it depends. Maybe we are referring, I don't know what is the age. Of course, you are going to clarify that for me. I remember, for example, that was like 2 years ago. There was a conference that I participated here in Verona to sensitize people about sexual violence and trafficking, because it was in relation to the office of UN in Sweden. So we did it here to sensitize the community here. So then, looking at the adult, we try to see also what can be the responsibility even on the part of the victim, no? Because if you're an adult, there is a certain responsibility that you can give to the person who is abusing you, because somehow you do have a little role to play in it. Okay, that might be very big as a statement, or you need to be explained. But as children, that will automatically be taken off now, because a child have no responsibility at all. So tell me, what is the age of the children we are referring to here? So that will help us to understand how much we can really sort of tell them to do, how much responsibility that they might have, and to sort of protect themselves and not be victim of this abuse.
Well, we're dealing with all ages, from very young to even teenagers. So obviously the tactics of monitoring and supervision and parental involvement, they'll be different from a 15-year-old to a 5-year-old. But 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds still need a certain amount of those things. And having a good base from when the child is young will then help the parents to have a good framework, a good parent-child relationship, good parent-child communication. So all that helps when they're teenagers. But certainly parents are still responsible for monitoring and involvement and supervision even with teenagers.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening and talk to you in the next episode.